Hello and welcome to Geoscope on Politics Social with me and Ollie BowlerHatMan. How you doing, Ollie? Are you all right?
I'm all
mate?
right. Yeah? I'm doing all right.
I'm trying to find my name. I can't find my name. My name has disappeared. Oh well, I'll put your name up, so that's good. Everyone knows who I am. I'm Graham, I think. Hello, hello, welcome. I don't know because my name didn't come. Actually, this might be it. Is that going to make my name come up? Is that if I pressed? I was showing off to Ollie.
You've got your new toy.
Kit, my new toys. Is that bloody working? Is it? There you go, Graham Hughes.
Way.
Woo! Hey. Right, we have Billy Kershaw in the chat. We've got MH Kerr. We've got Matthew G. We've got Sarah and Tim. We've got Diz in there. We've got Alex French. We've got Richard Grumpy Git. We've got some guy called BowlerHatMan. Don't know what that's about. We've got Anne Williams as well. And others. So, hello. Mikey Famine is in the chat. And someone is incessantly sending me messages on WhatsApp, which I'm going to have to mute. Hey, everyone doesn't get notified that I've got a notification. Just really annoying when you're watching TV and like there's a noise like a phone going off and you think it's your phone. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, oh,
yeah. Anyway, if you'd like
it's always the
if you'd like to join Gareth and Sarah and David and Simon and others in the chat, all you need to do, hit that subscribe button and wait for about 30 seconds and then you can join the chat. So should we get straight into it? We're going to be talking first up about DeepSeek, which sounds a bit like deep thought, doesn't it? Like, wouldn't it be great if we made like a massive AI and the only answer it gave to everything is 42? Unless the actual answer was 42 and then it'll give a different answer just to be stubborn.
Yeah, it's one of those. Well, I think this was maybe something a long time coming. AI has been one of these things where the tech industry in particular has really hyped up AI.
Yes,
like really
overhyped, so. One would say.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. AI, I think it will do some really good stuff.
Yes,
like there are some really good
like
applications.
The internet.
AI. Yeah,
but
there are some really good applications for it. Will it steal anyone's jobs? Well, it's never stolen anyone's jobs yet. Let's put it this way.
They said this about the internet. They said the internet was going to steal jobs. In fact,
this is as well.
For those of us who are a little bit older. I know I'm like I could be your dad, I think. But those of us a little bit remember the birth of the internet. It was exactly the same, right? So you had these big tech companies trying to put loads of money into stuff. You had the big .com bubble, as it was known, where people like just silly money, throwing it at the internet and hoping that something would come back. And it's a bit, looking back, it makes sense, but the kind of platforms that ended up working were the ones that were developed in someone's garage. Do you know what I mean? They weren't necessarily the stuff that people threw loads of money at. Facebook just started as a hot or not site for dickheads at Harvard. I mean, like MySpace just. So it's the use of AI, I think, is going to be for just making people's jobs just so much easier, but it'll just make us all more productive. It's not going to take, my job is streaming on YouTube. It's not going to take my job away. A robot couldn't do this. It wouldn't be half as entertaining.
Have you not seen a famous VTuber? What's she called now? A guy called Vidal.
Vidal.
It goes by the name of Vidal. Actually made a AI VTuber. It's from like as someone who likes seeing like technical stuff and programming stuff.
Yeah,
it's pretty impressive,
but still terrifying.
Like, what it
at the same time.
But,
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, well, it still needs like human interaction. It hasn't taken away like his job or anything like that. He still has to have interact with it. But it is again kind of funny to watch and sort of see this sort of in sort of real time. This this program that someone's created. What do they call it now? Trying to life for me remember what they call it. The guy who made it goes by the name Vidal. Neuro, that's it. So they call it Neuro.
Yeah.
And they create that's what it's called.
I would
And
imagine
yeah, it's interesting to watch and see.
does it come across as sort of like a bubbly 90s Eastern European MTV presenter? Because I have a
Not
special, I've got a particular type of person in my head, but I just couldn't imagine them having the personality and having the quickness, and it would always remind me of that episode of Black Mirror when Haley Atwell or whatever her name is, Haley Atwell
man.
is her boyfriend dies, a boyfriend played by Mad-Eyed Moody's son, Domhnall Gleeson. He
But
dies.
the other big advance, I think, in AI is medical stuff.
Yes.
Because
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Can I
think,
just talk about
yeah.
Black Mirror? Anyway, she gets her boyfriend back from the dead as a robot with all her boyfriend's memories implanted into it, and it just doesn't work. It's just there's something wrong with it. It's just it can't create new things. It can't surprise anyone, or do you know what I mean? It's just based. It's like an echo, and she ends up putting it away in the attic with the rest of the memories. Anyway, go on. Sorry, what were we saying?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I think one of the big things is going to be medical stuff, because we've seen, for example, I think everyone's seen the photo of AI like finding breast cancer,
Yes,
even before like it has a chance to develop.
Yes,
and I think it's where can AI sort of be applied to sort of fields like that.
Yeah,
and maybe like some of the biggest advances in AI we haven't actually seen yet.
Yeah,
like maybe
yeah.
in the medical field. Maybe it's in the future, before you even see a doctor, you speak to an AI, you tell it your symptoms, and then that goes through to a doctor, and then maybe that can help with them in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Maybe this can help with diagnosis stuff, as we've already seen with the breast cancer example. I do think there's a lot of very useful applications for AI out there.
Absolutely.
It's just what it gets applied to. Because remember, for the longest time, we had touchscreens.
Yes.
Like we had touchscreens technology for years. And it wasn't until Apple put it in the first iPhone, I think, that had touchscreen technology, or was it the iPad?
What was that?
I can't remember
I think it was the iPhone that came predated the iPad, but I might be wrong.
I think
there was a weird
one of those
where
two.
it was kind of like a phone, but it didn't. You couldn't use it to make calls, but you could use it for like Skype and stuff. It was a bit weird. iPod Touch, it was called.
Yeah,
but yeah,
but it was that really blew it off.
Excuse me.
Really sort of blew up the technology. Now pretty much everything's got touchscreen technology now.
Yeah.
It's a part of pretty much almost everything we use nowadays, touchscreen technology. But we had it for a very long time and just didn't get used for the longest time. So maybe AI could be the same thing. Maybe in like a couple of years' time, maybe we really do see like a big AI boom, and that's what a lot of the tech companies had been prescribing, that there were going to be this big, massive AI boom. And this was where all the money was going to go, invest. And then, as you very, very, I think quite rightly put it, China went bish, bash, bosh, right in the kisser. So, for those of you who don't know, today they've just come out with essentially another chatbot called, not Deep Thought, you've got me thinking.
Deep Throat.
Deep Throat, yeah.
DeepSeek.
DeepSeek, that's it.
DeepSeek, not Deep Thought.
And this is, it is. If you've used ChatGPT, you've used DeepSeek. The only thing you can't ask it is, of course, about Taiwan, and of course what happened in Tiananmen Square.
The three T's. The three T's you're not allowed to discuss in China are Tiananmen, Taiwan, and Tibet.
Yeah.
You literally have to rip out the pages in your Lonely Planet when you come across the border. If you've got the China Lonely Planet, they'll make you rip the pages out.
Mm.
It's kind of crazy. As there's a boat. You can get a ferry boat over to Taiwan from China. So pretending it doesn't exist is a bit weird. But they have a problem with the name. That's why when the Olympics, they go down as Chinese Taipei. That's to keep the Chinese happy, because they don't like them calling themselves Taiwan.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, don't accidentally Google deep throat.
Yes, don't do that. Although, also the name of the informant in,
In the Watergate, yeah.
the Watergate scandal and the first season of X-Files.
Yeah.
Oh, spoilers that he's not in the second season. Whoops, sorry. God, I'm giving away 30-year-old spoilers here. Woohoo! But yeah, so the Chinese came along, stole a march on the Americans who had invested trillions of dollars in this AI stuff, and they've basically done it for a couple of buttons and used up what a chewing gum.
6 million apparently. I think they've invested in it. But that's at least what they've publicly said. Whether that is actually true, we don't know. There also may be the possibility that this is has been an absolute like scrape job. Like they've literally just scraped all the information from another chatbot out there and built it on their own. Yeah, it's wouldn't be the first time there's been a cheaper Chinese knockoff of a successful thing.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. I mean, it makes me happy that there is an alternative that, it's Chinese, and we had a big problem with Huawei. Who are we? Who are we? Who are you? And also with TikTok in America, where it was banned because it was Chinese, and the Chinese
not banned now.
And only Americans are allowed to steal our data.
For I don't know how many couple more days.
Only fascists are allowed to steal our data. Come on, let's be sensible. Ooh, we got a super chat. Yay. Tim, pissed myself laughing. You can look up the tank incident and it'll give you the correct answer. Well, there you go. There you go. You can ask it about Tiananmen Square. Chris C, AI does have a place. However, it needs to be regulated, just like social media. It should have been regulated when it first came online. Yes, absolutely. And social media platforms need to be seen as publishers with a duty of care over the people who are using their platform, i.e. that anything that is, demonstrably bullshit, disinformation, needs to be removed within a sensible amount of time. And any users who saw that information need to be informed that it was disinformation. That's it. That's the rule. Sorry. Yeah. If you don't like it, I guess we'll just have to ban Facebook in the EU. How are we, the lads? Says yeah, it's open source, says Mikey Famine. Yeah, so you can check it up yourself, but I haven't used it yet. I was going to download it, but I couldn't find it. I don't know. I think it was because it's Chinese New Year tomorrow. It's going to be the year of the snake. That sounds about right, doesn't it? Anyway, so yeah,
I think I was a snake. I can't remember now.
Are you a multiple of 12?
Are
you 12 or 24 or 36?
Yes.
You are. Well, there you are.
I was born in 89, so
fantastic. Aha. So you were born the year after the year of the dragon. If you'd just been a bit earlier, you could have been a dragon rider. You could have known how to tame your dragon.
Oh, well.
You could have walked around the temple in Essos and gone, where are my dragons? That was my brilliant Daenerys impression. Thank you. Oscars, BAFTAs, Golden Globes, everything. And Sarah says, I'm a goat, same as Graham. I am the greatest of all time. Same as Graham. Well done, Sarah. Yes. Scott saying, robots will become middle managers. The poor will still do grunt work and the rich will boss the robots. I don't know if that's going to happen, to be honest with you. What the internet did is it made everyone twice as productive. But what the greedy bastards did was give us half as much money in real terms for being twice as productive as our parents were, And so this might make us twice as productive as again. It allows me, before I do a show, to not just do a shit thumbnail. I can do a half decent thumbnail most of the time. I know tonight's thumbnail wasn't great, but whatever. And then do some blurb, do all the tags, I'm writing out tags for stuff that you're doing. It's so time consuming. You just put it into ChatGPT and say, make some tags for this. This is what we're talking about. Make me tags. And it goes, and then you just put it on. Brilliant. Indeed, Graham, says Oliver. Thank you.
No.
Thank you. Thank you.
I still think we are a way off from like the big like AI innovation. I think in a couple of years' time we'll probably go in, oh yeah, wow, that's real AI. But I think we've barely really scratched the surface of what we can do with AI. But yeah, it's obviously, as also you said, knocked a lot of money off the stock market as well.
Yeah. It's quite a little bit of money. So it's $1 trillion was wiped off the stock market yesterday off tech stocks. 1 trillion is a million. And I often say about the different heights of stacks of money. So a million pounds in a stack of 50s, right? It's about 6'6". A tall man, a basketball player, or a tall man or a short basketball player. The height of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, if you double that, that's the height of 1 billion in £50 notes. 1 trillion in £50 notes would be 5 times higher than the International Space Station. That's a lot of money to just disappear. I guess, have people lost their money? I mean, what, did loads of people, or
I mean, here's the thing: if it was invested in like the AI stuff, then it's very likely, the money is there. It's gone into creating something.
Yeah.
The big thing that has been probably why it has lost all this money is the fact that it was developed so cheaply, and there's been a lot of people saying, well, for a number of years, all the big tech companies said we need all this money to be investing in AI. And I think the big thing was people turn around. Well, they could say, well, hold on.
Yeah.
How come they can develop this for like this amount of money when you've been saying you need all this cash to do it?
Yeah.
So I think that's the big thing. I think that is really the big thing on it. That it's just it's a lot of tech bros really having their comeuppance.
But
I'm
AI thinking that the Nvidia stock, which has lost 600 billion alone, that's just one company, was just well overpriced, and it was based on the fact that America was restricting chips that were being sold in China, and also the hopes of like the power consumption that would need to take place in order for this AI to work, and the fact that we're going to have to bring the 3 Mile Island nuclear power station back online. Trump was going to drill, and that's all off the agenda now because the Chinese have done it with a fraction of the power for a fraction of the money. But I think that the people who invested in Nvidia, they would have invested in it when it was about worth this much. So they put the money in, it's got up. And unless they cashed out, when it was at the top, it's probably back to where it was. I don't think there's anyone who's lost their life. They haven't lost their home over this. I don't think anyone's lost their shirt. But Tim Ballum is. I'm not going to lose my shirt with Tim Ballum in the chat because he's just dropped another super chat in. Thank you, Tim. That's very nice of you. The site is under constant DOS attack for some reason. Like all my websites are always under DOS attacks. Jesus. So now you have to register, but that is failing because of the attacks. I wonder where they might be coming from. And Brad W says the tech bros didn't see the crash coming because they were too busy cleaning out Trump's colon. Anyway, thanks for that, Brad. I meant the money, not the pleasant image.
Speaking of which, I don't know if you talked about this yesterday on
your the worst witch.
Well, it's one of the worst ones. I don't know if you missed. You might have talked about it yesterday, but we've had the first casualty in the Trump cabinet. We've had the first.
Are they dead?
Well, they're not dead.
Oh,
they've just been banished to the shadow realm by Donald Trump.
Really?
They've been fired.
Who's been fired? You're fired in a week.
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Oh, that was ages ago. He was in the Doge, wasn't he? He was in the Doge.
He was going to be in Doge.
Yes.
He was going to be in Doge, and he's now officially said that he's no longer going to be in Doge. Yeah. So I am officially saying now he has properly been given the boot by Trump.
Oh well, see you later, Vivek, you nasty little fash. They're all fascists, so I hope all bad things happen to them. 3 tech bros, 1 cup, says Richard. Oh my god, no. You might be too young to know what that is. Do you know what that is? Do you know what he's referring to?
I don't say anything, do I? Because I have a feeling.
Look it up. Don't look up 2 girls, 1 cup. You didn't know what Goatsy was the other day either, did you?
No.
It's all horrible stuff at the door of the internet. So what Goatsy was, I'm not going to describe it here, but it was the most horrific picture you've ever seen. And someone, I think it was one of the B3TA lads, they made a thing that you opened, like an attachment for an email, and it would make this picture come up in on the screen, and it would scream out the speakers, "The boss is a C unit," over and over again in kind of like an Eddie from Bottom kind of voice. And if no matter how much you pressed escape, you couldn't get out of it. So you'd have to turn your computer off. Oh, them were the days. Them were the days. On the old Dell laptops, you used to be able to press Control, Alt, and down on the arrow keys, and it would turn the screen upside down. So when you're at work, you could just go around turning everyone's screen upside down, and they'd have no idea how to turn it back. And it made the mouse go the wrong way as well. So when you moved the mouse right, it went left on the screen. It's brilliant. Anyway, don't Google that, Ollie, says Power to the People. Yeah, please don't Google it. Don't Google it. So yeah, I think this is really good news. I'm glad that the tech bros in America have had their bubble
they were
burst.
just building another bubble. They were just building another bubble. It's finally bust.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
I mean, AI is not going anywhere. None of the companies have been made bankrupt or gone under anything like that.
No.
It hasn't started a stock market crash either.
No.
As some people were saying it would. Yeah. But no, it's just things are just continuing on as normal, and it's all down to really these tech bros basically just a bit pumping up a bit too much of the of the AI essentially.
So here's my question: when's the Tesla bubble gonna burst? Because there's no connection. There's no real world connection between the price of Tesla stock, or swastikars as they're now known, the price of Tesla stock and the actual output of them building cars. And if you look at any other car manufacturer, even the biggest manufacturers in the world, people like Toyota, their market cap is nowhere near Tesla's. So do you think at some point Tesla's just
eventually
pop?
I think we are approaching that. I think, really? Yeah, because you look at, if you've seen some of the pictures of that Tesla is now overproducing cars because no one's buying them.
Yeah.
Like they've had this year, this sort of the last, I think, 2 financial quarters since Elon started getting a little bit more political, sales of Tesla have massively dropped off. So they're now making cars they now can't sell.
Yeah.
And eventually there'll just come a point where it will just go. Yeah. And I think it will happen very quickly, and go very quick.
Yeah.
But I think the more and more like crazy stuff Elon says, like I know just before we've come on air, he's trending again on Twitter. He's said about something about how we have to protect the culture in Europe. And it's kind of funny because he's sat next to this woman, and literally the second he says that, this woman just takes a chair and just moves away from him. I think Elon sooner or later is going to say or do something, because you can tell he's just getting more and more extreme. He's just getting more and more edgy, and sooner or later he'll say something. And
edgy. Like the guy did a Nazi salute last week. Let's not get away from this.
This is it. You've got to understand. Elon has been pulled into like this weird online internet subculture where doing that is it's considered edgy. It's considered a joke.
Yeah.
Like we normies just didn't get the joke. Elon was just being edgy. That's what that culture will say.
Yeah.
That's what they have been saying. And of course, meanwhile, many of them, of course, are, secretly Nazis and are loving it, because they now get to turn around and saying, "Oh, you're mad, you're insane, you're crazy." You may remember a couple of years ago, this was the same thing that went through with the, they started using the OK symbol, to denote, was it like white power or something like that? They started using it as like the OK symbol, but they all started turning around and saying, "Oh no, you don't understand. That's just he's just saying, using the OK symbol." And eventually, because they got started being caught out by it and stuff on, they had to move on to something else.
Yeah.
But this is just that same group of people now moving on to something else. And again, it's just Elon being edgy. And I know that sounds weird to say, given what he did, but that's what Elon considers he was doing. As far as he was concerned, he was just being a bit edgy.
Yeah.
We just didn't get the joke.
Yeah, in the week of the 80th anniversary of the
Yeah.
liberation of Auschwitz, he thought it would be a good idea to be edgy by doing a Hitler salute behind the seal of the United States of America, the presidential seal.
Did you see the exchange on CNN that happened
No.
as well?
No.
Oh, so what? There was the two. I think they were both senators, and the Democrat senator says, "Okay, if that wasn't a Nazi salute, I dare you right now on live television to do it."
Yeah.
And they just kept on daring them to do it. If it wasn't an issue, if it wasn't like this,
Yeah. He was just throwing his heart to people.
If he was just throwing his heart to people, why aren't you doing it? Do it now on live television. If it's not what you say it is,
do exactly
then you should have
what
no
he did.
problem doing it now. And he wouldn't do it.
What was his excuse for not doing it? What was his excuse?
He just said he wouldn't do it. He just kept on dodging out of it and kept on dodging the question. But it's a kind of really funny exchange. If you watch it happened like 2 or 3 days ago. So I definitely recommend, if you can find it, give it a watch.
Well, we'll move on. We just wanted to speak quickly about what happened with Colombia over the weekend. Colombia, 2 O's. They actually spelt it wrong on the press release from the White House. They spelt it COLO MBIA.
Colombo, yeah.
Which is the way they spell it in America. If you want Columbia, which is the capital of South Carolina, or District of Columbia in where Washington is. Or
I never liked Columbo. He was always a strange detective.
But yeah,
never liked his trench coat.
the Hollywood studio, Columbia, is spelled like that, Columbia Pictures. But no, the actual country Colombia is spelled with 2 O's. And he said, I want to send these not refugees, but I want to send these people back. I want to deport them on a military flight. And this is infuriating smoke and mirrors, because Biden deported more people in his 4 years in office than Trump did in his 4 years. Successfully deported more people, but they were taken back from where they came from, or their home country, on normal passenger jets, which is a cheaper way of sending people back. Yep. Trump did this for that photo where he had them in, being marched onto this military plane to get rid of them. And it was all just a photo op, like when he wanted his troops to shoot the protesters so he could march through the streets with his Bible held upside down. For a while it looked like the good people of Colombia were going to call his bluff and tell him to shove it where the sun don't shine.
Yep. Did you see the UN reaction, where I think it was the Colombian ambassador went on this big rant against him in the UN?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. that was pretty interesting. Then of course, Colombia does sort of rely on its trade with the US, so it really can't afford being sanctioned. I just think that it was just in a weak position. It couldn't be in a position where it could say no.
But is there any country that's in a position to say no? Venezuela, maybe?
Venezuela's already sort of very heavily sanctioned anyway by the US. I think the only real countries that can generally say no are probably a lot more the better developed ones, lots of countries that have more better trade routes and that have options where they can sort of like diverting stuff away from like the US to like other countries.
If the EU got tariff barriers slapped on it, that would really, really disrupt all the countries in the EU. I mean, the US is the EU's
short term, Absolutely, it would. But over time, those like the routes and everything would start to change.
Well, this is the thing. I was thinking
They would
about how,
start to see different
yeah,
opportunities from it.
but isn't this interesting? Because if you think about what happened with China bringing out this AI, that's completely undermined what America was trying to do. Maybe there's something out there where people can just say, "Well, we're sick of
Yeah.
America. We don't need your shit. We don't need you. Fuck off." He's just announced today that he's cutting all aid to everybody who needs aid.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's cut all foreign aid. He's cut all now grants and loans as well.
Yeah.
Except to the
mega rich.
Medicaid and veterans, I think it was. Veteran services. So those are the only two things that he's not cut. But the foreign aid one is very bad because that also means now that a lot of aid that was going to Ukraine now isn't going to go to Ukraine.
He can't do that though, technically.
It's not the military.
Finance is supposed to be Parliament, isn't it?
Yeah.
That dates back. That dates back to the reign of King John the First, or the only of Britain. He was such a shit king. They've never named another King John. That's quite remarkable. As they have actually named another King Charles, I believe, even though they chopped the head off Charles the First. There's not been another Richard, has there? There's no Richard the Fourth.
Oh, Mickey in the chat saying this empowers bricks.
Yeah.
It doesn't empower bricks.
No.
Oh, yeah, which Trump now thinks that Spain is in bricks.
Does he?
That was something that happened after our last show. He came out and said that Spain was in bricks. Yeah. It's just like when we're not in bricks.
Anyway, listen, Brad W has dropped £2 in the super chat fund. Thank you. Netanyahu defended Elon Musk's Hitler salute on X. No words. I didn't know that. I knew that the what is it? The Anti-Defamation League, which is supposed to be the leading anti-Semitic organization in America, came out and defended him. A full chested defense of a man making the sign of someone who literally tried to rid the world of Jews. And this is a organization there to protect Jews, and they're like, "No, it's fine with us. That's cool. Yeah. You do what you do, man. You do you." Yeah, Colombo was eating all the dogs. Yeah, that's right, Richard. They were eating the dogs. Chris C says federal assistance to individuals will not be affected, including Social Security, Medicare, food stamps, student loans, and scholarships. I think student loans. Did you just mention student loans? Are they gone?
No. I knew it was Medicare that hadn't, and I think veterans, but I know there was a couple of other things that did, but the vast majority of things aren't, and I think the Democrats are actually genuinely flipping out at this from at least what I've seen.
Well, then he's won, hasn't he? Because that's all that he wants to do. He just wants to own the libs. He doesn't care about the people who die and the children who will suffer as a result of this. He doesn't care about
the problem will be now is what they start to cut from this, because Trump will now, and of course his officials that they bring in, will start to cut things. Yeah. And the big worry is the what they call their I can't remember what they call it now. A CDC, that's it. Center for Disease Control. That is probably the most concerning thing at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how many of you are aware, in America right now there's quite a big bird flu outbreak going on over in America.
Yeah.
So he's stopped the CDC from sending out messaging. So they can't send out messaging about bird flu, about anything like that at all. They can't even communicate with the with their farming agency. They're like Bureau of like Land Management and Agriculture, I think it's called. I can't remember the acronym for it now. But they can't even communicate. Yeah. So they can't even talk with, we know this outbreak's going on this farm. CDC doesn't even know because they're not allowed to communicate with each other.
Right.
And last time, the last pandemic started, of course, at a wet market. I think this time we are very, very likely to see an outbreak maybe happen on a chicken farm. Could come from America this time. But the big thing is
the bird flu possible pandemic is really concerning because it's mutating all the time, as all viruses do. I mean,
it's now apparently reinfecting cows.
Cows. This is the interesting thing. Like the fact that it's infecting cows, which has never happened before with this type of flu.
And not just infecting them once, it's reinfecting them.
Right.
So it's mutating.
And then we're going to have the guy in charge of health is going to be a guy who doesn't believe in vaccinations. He thinks that you should drink raw milk. If you drink raw milk from a cow that has bird flu, apocalyptic for the USA.
Drink that raw milk,
not
that
wrong,
will
mate.
have bird flu in it.
Yep. It's not looking good for the US of A.
The worst thing that could happen under Trump, and this is like, even I would want this. Like, I would want a nuclear war, probably even more than this, because at least maybe some of us could survive a nuclear war.
No, we couldn't. What are you on about? No, we couldn't.
Well, we could. We wouldn't
be able to live. We'd have to live in a bloody silo with Rebecca Ferguson. Okay, that wouldn't be too bad.
We could all be looking like ghouls in a couple of years' time. We could all be have a nice, healthy radiation glow about us.
No, I think, well, when the apocalypse comes, I think, what will happen is there'll be a nuclear war. We'll all pile into a silo, and then there'll be a pandemic in the silo.
Yeah.
I'm a double fucked, aren't we? Oh, well, never mind. Mad Trump disease, says Sarah Davis. Mad Max disease. Scott says, Ollie, you're mad. Look, you can get away from germs if you isolate yourself. You can. It's not easy, but you can. Whereas
the other thing is,
if a bomb's gone off next door, instantly. You can't get away from that fallout.
If you caught bird flu with what this bird flu actually does, because it inflates so the symptoms of this is it gets your spinal muscles and it inflects them. So your spinal muscles will expand and it will go all the way up to your spine until it reaches your brain, and it will basically just strangle your brain. That's how you die from bird flu.
That sounds like a fucking alien from Star Trek,
exactly,
or something.
Exactly.
The brain stranglers of Regnon 5. Damn it! They're in me. They're in my head, Scotty.
Exactly. That's how you die from bird flu. Or you can take a quick, maybe just a quick flash, and that's it. A
quick flash, and that's it.
Yeah,
like that time you got arrested. Anyway, moving on. What I'm is talking about the impact of the big asteroid that took out the dinosaurs. Didn't wipe out all the dinosaurs, but it's dinosaurs. Not descended from. They are dinosaurs.
Yeah,
he gets very vexed if we call them non-avian dinosaurs. No,
that's why we know dinosaurs taste like chicken.
Yeah, so T-Rex would have tasted like a big fuck-off chicken, I reckon. They reckon T-Rex was proper fat, That's what they reckon, and covered in feathers. But there you go.
Yeah.
Chris C, you only have to stay indoors for a week until the radiation levels drop to a safe level. It will take a lot more nukes to destroy the human race. Ooh. Okay, then. You just have to survive the main thing. I grew up watching When the Wind Blows, so I was convinced that you'd just die of radiation poisoning after a little while. And also those videos that they used to show us as information films about what it would be like if there was a nuclear explosion.
Yeah, and we know what happens because we've seen what happens when Sheffield gets hit by a nuclear weapon.
In Threads.
We've all seen Threads.
The most terrifying TV show ever made. But happy days. And you've got to sort of think, well, at least that hasn't happened. Every day when we wake up and Trump is still alive.
Yeah.
And it's done something fucking
the most
stupid.
Concerning thing about it is that this is the people who are in charge. We saw through the last pandemic that it was, doctors, scientists, and governments all working together to sort of fight this, and we won
and fight the stupid as well.
We sort of, we quote in quotation marks defeated COVID. It's still there, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
Because we've got
vaccines
people
and everything else
for
it now. But this time,
everyone who wanted to die from COVID has probably died of COVID, though, now.
Yeah, this time there's going to be no lockdowns because JFK and Trump are massively anti-lockdown.
Yeah.
They, again, anti-vaccine. JFK was massively against
RFK.
the COVID vaccine.
RFK, not JFK.
RFK, sorry.
He's the one who got shot dead.
Yeah.
in the
Gotta
head.
remember which one
Back
it
and to
is.
the left. Back and to the left. Back to
Left.
the left. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So RFK is massively against vaccines. So the likelihood of him approving said vaccine is zero, which means good luck getting a vaccine.
You're frozen. Why have you frozen? What has happened?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Have we all frozen?
No, just you. Oh no, you're moving again
back.
now. Phew.
We're back. But yeah, it's really worrying.
It is.
Like the death toll if a pandemic happens again in America under the Trump administration.
Well, you know, in a way, isn't this what they voted for? Really? Couldn't we just say that's democracy in action? They voted for a person in charge who didn't give a fuck about them. And if there was another pandemic, he'll be just as useless as he was in the last one, which ended up killing over 1 million Americans.
Yeah.
Pretty much on his watch. While he was talking about injecting bleach up your ass.
Yeah.
And putting sunlight in your lungs or something. Fucking nutter. Right, let's talk about Greenland for a moment. So Europe standing firm on this.
Yep.
Denmark has just put 2 billion euros towards their Arctic defences. So they're getting serious.
Yep.
What's Trump's obsession with bloody Greenland? The USA is like the 3rd biggest country in the world. Why does it need to be bigger, Ollie? Explain to me, why does it need to be bigger?
I've been saying this for a while in like my own videos when I've talked about this, but I generally don't know how like serious Trump was about this. I think now he is pretty serious because Trump always goes like the most extreme stance. So, you know, I'm going to buy Greenland. If not, I'll take it by force. But meanwhile, maybe there's this other thing that he wants, but he wants this.
Yeah.
So you negotiate him down to this, and congratulations, he's got what he wants.
Yeah.
But then the problem becomes Denmark just goes, sorry, not for sale.
Yeah.
Just calls his bluff. Not for sale. Same with the Panama Canal. Panama's said, no, it's ours. You're not having it back.
Yeah.
Then what do you do? You know?
I've upset Mikey. I was only joking, mate. I don't think you all deserve to die. Jesus. Mikey's also contacted me to say that Luigi had it in his manifesto that they were using AI to deny people's health claim coverage, insurance claims for the healthcare in America, which, yeah, I've heard about this. And this is, you know, going back to what you said earlier, Ollie, it needs to be fucking regulated. Like, we can't have the wild fucking West like we've had on the internet for the last 25 years with AI because the companies, the big corporations would just take the absolute piss and give decisions like, could you imagine, your universal credit is based on an AI algorithm. No, you need humans in these things. Because AI makes mistakes all the freaking time. It has no sense of context.
I mean, the post office scandal was technology gone wrong.
Yeah.
So there does need to be...
Well, it wasn't. It was humans gone wrong. I mean, they were changing the numbers remotely, and they said they couldn't change the numbers remotely. So don't blame the machine, you know? Machines don't make mistakes. Humans do.
Yeah.
As said the boy Davil in the movie Davil, which was a film in the 80s about a robot child. Because that's what everyone wants to make, a robot child.
Never seen it.
Yeah, no one saw it. It was fucking awful. Fucking awful, mate. It actually stood for something. Right, so it was like DARYL. It's the dynamic android robot. Anyway, fuck it. No one else has heard of that, probably. The Austrian general said Austria must send troops to help Greenland and Denmark, says Oliver. We've got...
There was have you heard about the phone call that took place?
No, which one?
Oh, this was the phone call that took place that put Denmark, by all reports, into panic mode. Like the government and the civil service was like, is he serious? Is he serious about this? Yeah. Because according to this was like the worst 45-minute phone call any international leader with another international leader has ever had. It was that bad. But it
was a phone call from Trump. He rang them up and said, "I'm going to take Greenland."
Well, no, he had a conversation with Denmark's president about this. By all reports, it was pretty bad. Pretty bad. If I were Denmark and if that was recorded, I'd be releasing that phone call. I'd be releasing that phone call. I hope they do. I really hope that that call gets leaked in some way, shape, or form, because I would love to hear it. It'd be terrifying to hear, but
Right.
I'd love to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something else that's also been happening this week, as you already said. France has stood pretty firm by it. Starmer is meant to be having a phone call with him as well at some point. I think it's either already happened or happening this week at some point. So maybe we'll have some more clarifications. But it also came out that the previous conversations in the past Trump administration with like Boris Johnson and Theresa May, the civil servants used to like wait in the other office and listen in to these phone calls because they were just that funny. And it's just like, oh, release those phone calls, please. Please release those phone
in
calls.
Equal measure. We just had a note from Hating Puds, who has deciphered what Darryl stood for. It stood for, get this, data analyzing robot youth life form. There you go. The 80s were a wild time. Jesus. There was a show in the 80s called Manimal, and it was about a guy who like solved crimes by turning into an animal. He could turn into all these different animals. Because that's something that there was Knight Rider, which you probably heard of, where there was a talking car.
Called Animorphs, which was exactly the same.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly the same premise.
Yeah. It always pissed me off there was a show called True Blood, and the first couple of seasons were fantastic, and then it just went off the rails. And it brought in like fairies and stuff, but it also brought in these like shapeshifters. Now I can just about get my head around like someone turning into a werewolf, which is half human, half wolf, right? But these shapeshifters could turn into a fucking horse, and I was just like getting really angry, going, where did they get the extra mass from? All right, I know it's magic, but like, the weight of a human and the weight of a horse is significantly different. Where do they get the extra mass from, Ollie?
Yeah.
Anyway, and in Harry Potter, they do that as well. But that's not the most outrageous thing in Harry Potter, scientifically speaking. Yeah. It's the fact
something else I want to bring up in chat, because people bring it up about Greenland, is they all right. We actually get first refusal.
Is this true? That's quite funny.
So this was with Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah.
Woodrow Wilson.
Woody Rowe.
Yeah. He basically said, because obviously we still owned Canada at the time. He said that if they ever sell Greenland, we get first refusal. So I you know what we do? Because Trump has torpedoed the Chagas Islands deal, I think we just turn around and just go, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Vetoed.
Yeah. Well, listen, we've got other people in the chat. We've got oh my god, people remembering that movie. Harry Flashman is saying Gelf and genetically engineered life form from Red Dwarf. I always thought that that Gelf actually stood for Graham. Everyone would like to take out for a milkshake. And then the Benjamin, there you go. He says, I've got a question for everyone. Is chocolate toxic to werewolves, or is it just upsetting their stomach if the human is lactose intolerant? Well, scientifically speaking, most humans are lactose intolerant beyond the age of 4-ish, because you're not supposed to be still living off your mother's milk past that age. And we're just freaks here in Europe, where so many of us are actually lactose tolerant until our ripe old age. Most people aren't. That's why you don't usually see fresh milk in supermarkets in places like China. You get UHT milk, but you can't get fresh milk. You can get treated milk, you can get cheese, and you can get, fromage frais and stuff like that, but you can't get milk. Right, anyway, new Transformers 1 movie is cool, says Oliver. We should check that out, man. Have you checked out the latest Transformer movie?
I haven't.
No. I was going to do me joke about Harry Potter.
Lord of the Rings one.
Can I do me joke about Harry Potter? What, Transformers meets Lord of the Rings? That sounds great. Let's do that.
The Lord of the Rings film, the War of the Rohirrim. That was the last film I went to see.
Was it any good? Was it all right?
It was actually.
It was
animation-wise.
Anime.
Animation-wise, it was amazing.
Ooh, okay.
It was amazing. I think the story is good. Could have been better. Not 100% perfect. It
Yeah.
has its problems, but you know what? If you enjoy Lord of the Rings, you'll have a good time.
Okay, I enjoyed Lord of the Rings so much that like it just gives me warm fuzzy feelings. Lord of the Rings, the movies and the book, I guess, but particularly the movies. That's like my happy place. But I fucking hated the Hobbit movies. They were just awful. They were the Star Wars Episode 1 of Hobbit movies. Just there was no soul to it. It was just so fake. It was one of the things I love about the original Star Wars and the original Lord of the Rings. It's they're gritty. Do you know what I mean? You can see the dirt under the fingernails. Whereas, the bloody prequel trilogy of Star Wars, everything's dead shiny and nice. And I didn't like it. Anyway, Chris C, thank you very much. Says the Danish president telling Trump to F off. Thank you very much for the super chat there. And also, yeah, that helps us get back on track because we've got a few more things to talk about before we wrap up in 8 minutes' time. So Hungary has dropped Russian sanctions objection. Yep. So tell us more about this.
So obviously Viktor Orban, massive fan of Putin, really sort of wants to be sort of the thorn in the side on this, and I think he was hoping that Donald Trump would come along and basically, well, more punish Ukraine rather than Russia. But we also saw this week basically news that Donald Trump sort of had come to the conclusion that he was going to have to follow the Biden formula.
Yeah,
he was going to have to, give them military aid and these type of things, so that Russia wouldn't basically succeed in Ukraine, and that there would be, it would basically just become too much more expensive for them to fight. And he turned around and said, well, okay, even if you don't do that, we're going to put even more sanctions on you. And at that point, Hungary turned around and went, okay, we'll drop our objections to these then. And that was it.
Good.
That was it. So the Viktor Orban has backed down now on that. So those sanctions from the EU are going to continue, and I think they are going to add potentially some new sanctions as well.
Well, I hope they do. I hope they do, and continue helping Ukraine out, because Trump's not going to. Trump wants Ukraine to fail because his mate Vladimir Putin's been on the phone and said, "I want to take all of Ukraine up to the Dnieper River." I'm saying that wrong. Sorry. He's going to take half the country. That's his plan. And Trump will let him, and he'll go, "Oh, I made peace. Yeah.
I'm not 100% convinced, because I think there's a lot of Republicans that are still like very, very pro Ukraine, and I don't know if they will fully go ahead with him on that. I think that Trump has come to the conclusion that it's Putin that is the problem here. He's going to get out of Ukraine, and from what we've been seeing, he has basically been saying, well, I'm going to give Ukraine more weapons and aid, and I'm going to sanction Russia more.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this continues, but we're also looking forward to maybe next week, maybe the week after. That's when we're going to find out about tariffs. So it could be, the Oprah Winfrey time of you get a tariff, you get a tariff, and you get a tariff. So that'll be fun.
Unfortunately, when I said that the Congress has to set sort of any financial things, the exception is tariffs, which is the sole right of the president to just do what the fuck he wants.
That's what the Democrats should have done. They should have taken back that power.
The Democrats should have put Trump. They should have made him dig a hole in the desert and then jump in the hole. That's what they should have fucking done when they were in charge, but they didn't because they're all dickheads. Someone's mentioning Portal. The cake is a lie. In fact, Duke Vengeance is saying the cake is a lie. And part of the people saying, I can't see Harry Potter now without thinking how much a horrible turd J.K. Rowling is. Yeah, I completely agree. She's ruined it for everyone. She sucked all the magic out of the Harry Potter books, because it turns out she was all for Voldemort all along, ethnic cleansing, pure bloods, none of these mud bloods, coming along with their muggle parents pretending to be wizards. I mean, imagine if there was not just two genders. Imagine if there was more than two genders. Imagine that. That would be disgraceful, wouldn't it? Just people just living their life the way they want to live it. Yeah, it's a weird way to think people go as they get older and richer. It doesn't make them nicer. Anyway, we'll go over to South Korea now. Lastly, Yoon Suk Yeol has been the former president. Oh, he's still the president, isn't he? I don't think he's been impeached yet. But he's
No,
been
not yet.
indicted.
Been
He's
indicted. So
in
it's moving
serious,
forwards.
serious legal trouble following his attempted martial law decree. So this was interesting. He got arrested last week. What do you reckon is going to happen? Do you reckon he's going to go down?
I think he is. I think you've seen this, and the South Korean people be really outraged that this has happened. So I think that you've now seen him being indicted. I think it's very likely in the next couple of weeks we'll see definitely the charges be brought up against him, and then we'll see how the trial unfolds. But I definitely think you're seeing South Korea lead the way on this is what you do if a president breaks the law.
Yes. Because let's not forget, I mentioned this on the show earlier, the January the 6th was the biggest terrorist attack, the most well-known terrorist attack, the most effective terrorist attack since 9/11. 1,500 people arrested, charged, found guilty. And Trump has pardoned them all. Imagine if Obama had pardoned the 9/11 masterminds. Imagine he had caught Osama bin Laden and gone, oh, no, but I'll let him off, actually, because he really wants the best for America, really.
4 of these people have already been, rearrested.
Yes. Well, one of them's dead. One of them got shot dead by the busies earlier today. So there you go. One down. 1,499 to go. Patrick H says South Korea should show the USA how you deal with presidents who try to become autocrats. I don't think America's listening. I think that we are, and I think that we'll continue to point this shit out. But I just think there's so many Americans who don't give a fuck. They're just getting on with their lives, and they like the idea that Trump is owning the libs. I don't care how many people have to die in order for Trump to own the libs, because they don't live in the real world.
I still wonder how long he's going to be able to keep up the con, because he's made a lot of promises he's not going to be able to keep. A lot of promises, like when egg prices in America start skyrocketing because of the bird flu stuff.
I had the discussion with Mikey and Tim last night on stateside. I don't think they're going to give a fuck, because he said he was going to build a wall, right? He didn't build a fucking wall. Did he build a wall? Did he fuck? He said he was going to get rid of Obamacare in this first term. Did he? No. There's loads of shit he said he was going to do. He was going to arrest Hillary. He was going to put Hillary Clinton in jail, lock her up. That's what he shouted at his rallies. Did he put her in jail? Did he fuck?
Well, now he's got an attorney general that'll do his bidding. So, maybe he will. I mean, they're already announcing their own inquiry now into January the 6th. I've said this now, even though all these people have been pardoned, the Republicans are going to find any way they can, to go after these people, especially the MAGA ones. But the grocery prices in particular is really important, because if you are an average American, you can't really feel the effects of a half-finished wall. But you go into the supermarket every week after Trump explicitly running on the fact that I will lower grocery prices, I will make things cheaper, when there are things going on that he has no control over. The tariffs are going to raise prices on American products as well. It's how long does I think he'll keep his core fan base, but I think a lot of other Americans are going to turn around and just go, no.
I disagree. I think
that
everyone who voted for him will do what they do with Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela and say, I needed to go on a diet anyway. I think, if it was any other leader, or even any other country for that matter, you'd have a shot. But Trump isn't just the president of the United States. He is the be-all and end-all for the people who voted for him. They looked past the fact that he's a rapist. They looked past the fact that he mounted an insurrection against the American Parliament building. Essentially, we burn Guy Fawkes, or an effigy of Guy Fawkes, on a bonfire every year to celebrate the fact that he didn't manage to storm Parliament with a big bomb and blow everyone up. But, in America, apparently the people who did that thing were the goodies, and the people who ran away scared because there was an armed mob coming to get them and kill them all. They were the baddies, really, if you think about it. Black is white, white is black. Do not believe the evidence of your own eyes and ears. Jay, thank you to Jay. Jaya Celine, Sealan. Jaya Sealan. Thank you for the £20 super chat. Thank you for the work you do. Keep going. Okay, I'll keep going. Whew. Just for a little bit, though, because the show's nearly over. But thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Power to the people. It costs about £7 for a tray of 12 eggs in the US right now, apparently. Lol. That's because of bird flu as well, isn't it? Go up. Is that because of bird flu?
Yeah. That's only going to go up. Like I say, the bird flu stuff yet hasn't really hit. Yeah. Like, it hasn't really hit. Because if you may remember, we talked about last year, we talked about the effect that bird flu was having on eggs in Russia, where they started having to ration eggs.
Yeah.
Like, that's how bad it got in Russia. And they're still having that same problem, mind you, even now. But how bad is it going to get in America?
Yeah. Okay, well, I want to make three predictions, all right, now, before anyone can say I didn't make these predictions. I don't think there's going to be any uprising. I don't think there's going to be any real push to get rid of him before his term is up. I think millions are going to die as a direct result of him being the president of the United States of America. Not just in America, but all around the world. And I also believe that he'll die in office. I don't know if that's going to be in a few months or a few years or a few decades, but he will die in office. I can see him manipulating the interpretation of the Constitution in order to, stay in there. I'm not really the president. I'm the vice president. He'll run as vice president, and then he'll get Vance to step down, and then he'll become president again.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that.
You can. But there's so many ways around the stupid Constitution because it was a scrap of paper written over 250 years ago by a bunch of old white racists. It's not too difficult to step around. No, sorry, 248 years ago. Yeah. Hayton Put says, I'm a doomer. I agree with Graham. Well, you got to laugh, haven't you? Fuck. Fuck. Dim TR says, I think it's like 10% up and will rise more by the end of the year, the price of the eggs. I don't remember which agency said it. Yeah. And Sarah wants to know, will you be spitting feathers if you caught bird flu?
Probably not, because you might not be able to spit.
But he's saying no Kentucky Fried Chicken.
What it does.
No Kentucky Fried Chicken, no Popeyes. You just had to go to McTucky's on Canal Street.
We had riots when KFC ran out of chicken.
We didn't have riots. People called the police.
Well,
people dialed 999 because they were like, "Oh my god, we're out of chicken. We're out of chicken." I mean, we've got to remember, like, every time British people try and feel smug, we were the country that voted for Brexit and called up 999 because KFC ran out of chicken.
Yeah. Can you imagine what's going to happen when KFC starts to run out of chicken in America?
Power to the People says, I think he'll just say every single thing that goes wrong is someone else's fault and his lackeys will suck it up. Yeah, absolutely. A governor of one state has already tried to say he should be allowed 3 terms. Yeah. I mean, even if he's not, even if he can't manipulate the Constitution, he can run as the vice president to JD Vance. Wink, wink. They all vote for JD Vance, and then JD Vance stands down, and then Trump becomes president. You're just not allowed to run for president, but you can run for vice president. Anne Phillips, £5 super chat. Thank you very much. Here, Graham, put this on the bookies. You'll be sorry if you don't. Oh, thank you very much for that. I'm not a gambler man, unfortunately. But yeah, they're my 3 predictions. Graham's 3 dire predictions of the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine.
I mean, I think he might die in office because he's not the most healthiest individual. He has absolutely terrible diet, and he's got God knows how many like health complications that we don't know about. So I think there's, he is, as I said before, he is in heart attack city central. It's just, when is one cheeseburger just too many for Trump? But yeah, I really do think that his he will probably die in office probably sooner rather than later. You look at his age, you look at his diet, like he is in heart attack central, literally.
And no one else would get away with it. Like if JD Vance was the president of the United States now and egg prices went up again, they'll be calling for his head. Do you know what I mean? Like it'll be the next American Revolution. Trump he holds a sway over vast swathes of the American population, and it's like a cult leader. It's exactly like a cult leader. They would offer up their firstborn to him. Someone rang up the radio the other day and said that they would. Oh no, it wasn't a radio. I think it was Marina Perkis. She asked him like, "Would you leave him in charge of your daughters? Would you lend him money?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, absolutely, I would." I mean, wow. I just find that absolutes are rather are given that diversification adaptation are more likely to occur under hardship. That's from one angry pagan. He'll have egg on his face. He's McFucked up. So super tiny. And so those. I think he'll be done in by one of his own eventually. Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the course, isn't it? John Lennon.
I mean, that's the other thing as well. If like Trump orders one of these idiots to do something like Pete Hegseth, like he actually goes and does something really dumb, like under Trump's order, and gets in trouble for it, they'll flip on Trump in a heartbeat because they know he's not going to be loyal to them.
Yeah.
So someone I think could flip, and I think it might happen in this administration, because you see all like how awful and terrible they are, and someone's going to do something really dumb, or Trump is going to ask them to do something really dumb, and they're going to be the ones who are going to take the fall for it, and then they're going to turn around and just go, here's where all the skeletons are buried. I think that could happen potentially as well.
Maybe. But I don't think it will. I think that could very well happen, but I don't think it's going to change the minds of the people who voted for him. In the same way that you don't meet too many Brexit voters who really, really regret it in this country. I mean, there's one or two. If there is one, they tend to get on the news or on a TikTok video. But generally speaking, the people who voted for Brexit still think that, it just wasn't done properly. They'll blame someone else for their fucking Brexit not being the Brexit that they wanted. It's always someone else's fault.
Have you seen recently that Frosty the No Man and that Hanan actually want us to join PAM?
Really?
Yeah. They've said they don't have any problems if the UK joins PAM.
Wow.
That's quite interesting from two again leading Brexiteers. Saying that.
Yeah. Anyway, right. So we're gonna call it there. R.I.P. Biggie Smalls. Biggie Smalls. What was that? Wasn't that a while ago? Oh, that was no, sorry, it's B.I.G. Stop applying normal logic to Trump. He's a psycho, but also thick as mince and stubborn as hell. Yeah, that's the problem. Leave your logic at the door. Leave your common sense at the door. Emotions are in charge now, and it's just what makes people feel good. I tell you what doesn't make me feel good: having to see Trump's fucking face every day on the news. Like every news story for the last 2 weeks, well, since he got re-elected, really, has had him on the front page of the news site. And I'm sick of seeing his stupid face. But yesterday I replaced his face with some butter that looked like his face, but it was just a big chunk of butter. PEM, not PAM.
Yeah.
The Pan-European movement. What is it?
Pan-European Mediterranean
trading customs union thing. Yeah, it's a customs. It's a custom. It's not the customs union. It's a customs union.
It's not even a customs union. It's more like a customs treaty.
Yeah. But it would help our economy, which needs all the help it can get at the moment. It really does. Anyway, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone, especially everyone who dropped in a super chat. That's really kind of you. Especially out to Jay, because Jay, that was really, really kind of you. But also to Tim as well, and Brad W, and Talk Madia, and so did I shout out to Talk Madia? Did I mention Talk Madia's? Talk Madia's £2. Thank you very much to Talk Madia for the £2 super chat. So is this American flu? Yeah, I think I did read that one out. Chris C, and Anne Phillips, and also Jay, obviously, who dropped in 20 quid. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you. Anyway, so I'm going to be back tomorrow morning at 9:30, and then we're going to have PMQs at 12, and then we might do an episode of The Intersection, although we haven't prepared anything, so I don't know. It might happen. It might not. I'm not going to promise anything. Unlike politicians who promise the world and never deliver. Deliver. Right, anything else we need to say before we go?
No, that's it really. Yeah.
Okay, well, biff baff boff. Thank you very much to Ollie, BowlerHatMan from Yorkshire, for giving us his wisdom this evening. And I thank you very much to everyone in the chat, everyone watching, everyone who gave a super chat. Give us a like on the way out if you're so minded, if you're feeling generous. And until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye. Bye.